everybody. Welcome back to the JNL Chronicles.
Hey everyone, nice to have you here. Today, we're going to talk about how Caligula was the original troll. If he was alive today, he'd be an internet troll. He did things such as the time he ordered the Senate to come in the middle of the night, and they were all scared. They didn't know what he was going to do because he's this crazy emperor, right? He came out and started dancing in front of them. Yeah, everybody was really confused. And he didn't say anything after his dance performance. He just disappeared into the night.
Oh, wow.
And that's just one of the crazy stories of Caligula. We're going to get into them all here.
That sounds pretty
Well,
crazy so
a lot of
far.
them. But he was really mean and cruel as well. But trolls are mean and cruel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, aside from his incredible cruelty and obsession with killing and torturing, he was doing other things that were even more strange. And he had a very weird sense of humor. Like he enjoyed hanging up new laws in places hard to reach, writing them in really tiny writing, so that the people couldn't even read it.
Wow.
And then he'd punish people who didn't know about them afterwards.
Yeah, that's trolley behavior for sure.
Yeah, like when they were in the arena, for something all collected in the arena, and the sun was beating down really hot in the middle of the day. He'd pull back the awnings and demand everybody stay there in the sun,
That's,
just because he
that's
could.
messed up.
Yeah, just because he could. Like this guy was crazy, but it it went from like he tried to make his horse a senator,
Well,
a senator.
uh, we would probably do well with some horse senators nowadays.
Yeah, yeah, we would. But he tried to make his horse a senator. He said the horse would defecate on the side he disagreed with. And, he was trying to put that, enforce that. But,
Sounds
you know,
logical.
they knocked him off before he could put the horse into Senate.
Oh.
But that's skipping to the end. But
Well, gee, I wonder why they would do something like that to him.
I know, right?
He
Uh,
seemed like such a nice, well-rounded guy.
I know. He did not. He loved his horse, though.
It sounds like it.
It,
Wanting
it
to make him a senator, that's a lot of power for a horse.
Yeah, and even though it didn't come to fruition, in Sextitas, the name of the horse, enjoyed all the pleasures of being the emperor's favorite animal. He he had a passion for this animal. He gave it all the pleasures of humans. He had a horse, a stall of marble,
Mm.
an ivory feeder made for him, a collar decorated with precious stones, and blankets dyed in purple. And that was the most expensive blankets in Rome that you could get back then.
Mm.
So this horse was decked out.
I want to be Caligula's horse.
Yeah. And the day before Incitatus would have to take part in races, silence was ordered in the neighborhood to prevent the horse from distraction. No one could distract his horse. So everyone else's horses can be distracted, but if you're anywhere near him, it's a no-go.
Here's a question though: did his horse ever lose, or was it a thing where they were like, okay, we're going up against Caligula's horse today. You have to lose.
I would not want to win if I was going up against Caligula's
Nope.
horse. He'd probably kill you.
Yeah,
Oh,
probably.
he'd probably knock you off. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. That
Yeah.
sounds like a thing he would do.
Yeah. The day before the horses, he would invite incitatos to dinner, and he gave it wine. The horse drank wine for his health from golden cups, and he was fed gold oats mixed with gold flakes, so golden oats.
Wow.
And so, yeah, that horse had it all. I don't know if that's good for somebody. Drinking gold,
Uh,
eating gold flecks.
I don't know how much of it you can. I know that you can get heavy metal poisoning by ingesting too much gold, but then they do also uh, use like gold leaf on food that you can eat.
Oh yeah, we do have that now. I wonder if it's the same as they had back in the day.
Well, a drink like Goldschlager has little gold flecks in it.
Oh yeah, I've seen the alcohol that
Yeah.
has gold flecks in it. Not only that, he bathed in gold and he drank pearls. Not so much bathed. He would he would pour out gold over the floor and gold artifacts and walk over them barefoot and then lay down and wallow in them for a couple of hours in the gold flakes.
Now, I've stepped on a Lego, and that does not feel
Those
good.
hurt like crazy. There's nothing like stepping on a damn Lego.
Now, covering your floor in gold and jewels, that sounds like a similar incident there could happen.
Yeah, because he walked over it first before he would
Yeah.
lay down and wallow in it. So it's kind of like bathing. And then pearls, he would have natural pearls dissolved in vinegar and drink them.
So, sand.
That sounds real gross, right?
Pearls are literally sand.
Yeah, real gross. Um,
Now, why not just have some, like, pearls in your drink and just take them down like a pill?
I don't know. I guess he didn't think of that. But he also served loaves and meats of gold during his banquets, leaving his visitors amazed. And
I'd start
and
stealing the food.
I wonder how much gold was in that food, or
Knowing,
how you got.
knowing how Caligula was, probably quite a bit.
He also proclaimed himself to be Jupiter,
Hmm.
not Jupiter the planet, Jupiter the god. The god. Uh, Zeus in Greek mythology was the head god of the sky and the weather and everything. He ruled over a pantheon of lower gods, and Jupiter was nearly identical
Hmm.
to that. So he didn't like his name. His name was Gaius, and he hated the name Caligula. So he would have people call him Jupiter. Just and
Wow.
even the senators had to call him Jupiter, and even his documents. He also ordered that to bring the great statue of Zeus at Olympia from Greece in order to replace its head with his own. It's
Wow.
crazy.
Someone was full of
He
themselves.
was full of himself. He couldn't get enough. He couldn't get enough of himself. Yeah. Uh, Also, he talked to gods. Aside from wanting to be called Jupiter, he's also known for having conversations with the moon, at
Oh,
night, inviting her to his bed and threatening Jupiter himself. Inviting the moon to his bed at night.
okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
And he was the emperor, the one in
something tells
charge.
me he was not mentally well.
Yeah,
If
one
he's
would think.
talking to the moon, like, "Hey, baby, how you doing up there? Look a little lonesome. How about you come on down and lay down with old Caligula over here?"
No, he wouldn't call himself Caligula.
Oh, I'm sorry, little old Jupiter. You know, I like a bigger gal.
Well, he said that the goddess Victoria put a crown on him, and he also boasted about seducing the moon all the time, as I said.
Seducing the moon?
Yeah. And he also mentioned the spirit of the ocean talking to him while he couldn't sleep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. he was pretty full of himself. Um, one person he asked one person if they could understand what Jupiter was saying, and he said, "Oh no, only gods like Caligula can understand or hear God." And then he became the emperor's favorite person
I
because
bet
he said
he's
that.
the only one
Good
who's like,
answer, right?
yeah.
For a murderous heathen of a man. I mean, this man was truly
You know,
something else.
if I was under Caligula's rule and he was like, "Well, don't you hear him?" I'd be like, "Oh, I'm not important enough, obviously."
Yeah, you got to. You
You
got to.
know, you know, a peasant like me can never speak to gods like you do.
Oh, he would also dress himself as different gods. He would parade around as Jupiter, Bacchus, Apollo, Neptune, Hercules. You know, uh, and with the gods' attributes. You know, the wigs to be recognized, so that he would resemble them as much as possible. And he could be seen carrying around a trident or wearing a lion's skin and holding a club to look like Hercules.
Wow.
This man, what he also he didn't only impersonate the male gods though, as he really enjoyed dressing up as Venus, Diana, or Juno. And well, aside from portraying the gods, this emperor was found dressing himself in clothes that in general would be worn during triumph, when you win something, a battle.
Well, he
But
was
he
winning
would
every
wear them
day,
all the
right?
time. Well,
Every day was a
geez.
win for Caligula.
Yeah. Oh, listen to this fact. You know Alexander the Great, right?
Yeah.
He dug up Alexander the Great's breastplate from the grave and wore it around.
Ah.
Yeah.
So let's add
And with
desecrating
jewels
and
and
uh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. He had no respect. And he was just extravagant. When he wasn't wearing that stuff, he would wear silk
You don't say.
and
He was
cloaks.
extravagant, bathing in gold.
Wallowing around
Yeah,
in gold.
wallowing around in gold.
Wallowing.
That doesn't sound like an extravagant man to me. That
I
sounds
know.
like a very modest, humble man, which I'm sure
Very,
Caligula was. Very humble.
very
Very,
humble,
very
right?
humble. At least I would tell him that.
Very humble. He owned a huge amount of jewelry, bracelets, rings, necklaces, and a variety of shoes, including female ones. Yeah, he'd dress up as anything, and he liked to do impossible things. So he's known for his shipbuilding. Um, these Nimi ships, they're called. In these days, he made two of them, and they were floating villas. They
Mm.
even had columns and everything, and baths and a heating system.
Huh.
They had a heating system in there, and banquet rooms, statues, beautiful mosaics on the floor.
Mm.
Um, these things were all decked out, and he had two of them. They were huge. They were like, if I remember correctly, it was like 230 feet long and like
It's pretty big.
60 something or 66 feet wide.
That's really big for back then.
Yeah. Uh, those in World War II, they got uh, demolished or torn down a lot. So there's
Oh
some
wow.
of them in museums, but uh, according to Suetonius, he enjoyed all things impossible, such as projects that usually went like building tunnels through the hardest mountains and building stone piers into the deepest and stormy sea. You know, turning the high mountains into plains and the plains into mountains, and he just really thought he really thought he could do anything.
Well, it sounds like in a way he was also really good for Rome.
He killed a lot of people.
Yeah, but look at all the infrastructure he did.
Well, those were his ships, but yeah, his quarters were pretty nice too. And
Hey,
he
you can't just hate on the guy. The guy did a lot of good for his country.
mm, no,
Where would we be without Caligula?
indeed.
Uh, you know what? If a couple 100,000 people have to die just so he can have a beautiful, probably what would be thought of now as a cruise ship.
Yeah. Oh, there was this one guy that used a wooden sword in battle with him and fell on purpose. Gave up. Fell off his horse, and Caligula jumped down and stabbed him.
Okay,
Even
if Caligula handed you a wooden sword and was like, "Hey, let's fight," it's like, okay, what are you?
okay.
You're using a real sword? Um, okay. This is how that would went down. I'm assuming the guy that he went up against probably knew a little something about sword fighting and also knew you shouldn't beat Caligula.
When you fall down, it's
That's when you end him. That's when you take him down, you get his sword, and then you become the emperor.
well, like I said, they did knock him off. They had to knock him off. As bad as that sounds to say, uh, it's
Sometimes you have to. This seems like one of those situations where
because he was enslaving people. He was cruel. He enslaved people in his house. Uh,
murderous.
he was murderous. He was ruthless. Yeah, he won a lot of battles for Rome. Yeah, he did good for Rome. But the craziness outdid everything. Uh, like he was a huge fan of chariot racing, and he would often sleep in stables and taking part in them himself. And again, if I was up against Caligula in a chariot race,
No way I'm winning.
no way I'm getting close to him. Oh, my horse is tired. Oh, no,
Now,
what am I gonna do? Caligula's gonna win. Okay.
I have a feeling like he would, if you beat him, he'd kill you, and if you lost, he'd kill you.
Well, not always.
Oh,
Not always. Yeah, like some shoekeeper made a comment to him one time, and you would think he would kill him for it, but he didn't because he considered him to be a lowly shoemaker,
ah, okay.
so he didn't do anything to him. But he loved showing off. He loved performing as a gladiator, a singer, a dancer. As I said, even I mean, can you imagine what the Senate had to deal with him? He tried to make his horse a priest.
Oh,
He
there
tried
you
to
go.
make his horse a consular. That the consular carries out the orders of the Senate,
Mm.
and he wanted to make him a senator. I mean, they couldn't do anything with this man. Like, I it's just
Horse priest.
horse priest. Yes,
Huh.
yeah. He wanted to co-opt him as a priest. That's how much he loved his horse. And you know, everyone was afraid of Caligula. Everyone. So I don't know who knocked him off. Uh, I don't condone that kind of stuff,
I'm sure
but
there's a
I
long
can
list
see
of
why.
suspects.
Right? Yeah, I can see why it happened. I don't approve of that kind of stuff, but um,
In this
I can see
situation,
why they would think, what can I do?
yeah, I don't think
Like,
there was much of a choice.
yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, Caligula. He. Oh, he was also concerned about his appearance. People considered him not very handsome, and they said he had a fearful look. And aside from having problems with his appearance, his body was extremely hairy, and this was unattractive in Rome to be hairy. So you know what he did? He passed a law not to mention a goat at all in his presence.
Mention a
So I
goat.
don't know how hairy he was. You know the hair that hangs off the goat? Apparently people were comparing him with a goat. He made a law that you can't mention a goat in his presence. And he also had a problem with early hair loss, just like his ancestors. And that caused another law to be created. This one prohibited anyone to stand higher than him or look down upon the emperor as he passed by. Yeah, to look more fearsome and frightening, he regularly practiced expressions before a mirror. Can you imagine this man walking around just, just
You
getting
know,
in people's faces? Trollish behavior.
I'm
He would be an
surprised.
internet troll.
I'm surprised people around him weren't like, "Oh, you didn't hear? Women love bald guys now." Oh yeah, that's in. That's totally in. Bald and hairy. Hair where it's not supposed to be, and no hair where it's supposed to be. That's what they all want now.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with bald head, but he didn't like it. He created a law.
Maybe he could have just worn a hat.
He
I wonder if he thought about that. Did he ever think of just wearing a hat,
he wore like a thing of like this gold thing around his head
like a crown?
that looked, yeah, we'll insert a picture. It's kind of like a crown, yeah, but like intertwining something around, like maybe with thorns or something
Okay.
around his head. I don't know if he wore it 100% of the time, but he even created a temple for himself.
Oh, obviously. That
It,
sounds like
yeah,
something he'd do.
yeah. So
Jeez.
Caligula.
Well, this was a
Oof.
pretty good history lesson today.
Yeah, this is what I call fun history.
Now, if they would have taught history like this, in school, maybe people would have paid attention.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What could the people do? He was he was either a troll or office rocker or a
I
combination
think
of
he was
both.
mentally ill.
I think he was a combination of both. I think he was a troll and trolled people on purpose because he liked messing with them. Like, for instance, the laws,
Yeah.
hanging up high, little letters. He trollish behavior, and with a little mental illness, unfortunately for the
I don't know about
people,
a little.
or a
Sounds
lot.
like a
Well,
lot.
yeah, a lot, more like a lot. But yeah, drinking pearls, wallowing in gold, dancing in front of the Senate in the middle of the night. Uh,
Yeah. Sounds like the worst boss ever.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, they were frightened when they came, when they were summoned in the middle of the night.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
It's like, shit. What's he gonna do to us?
What's going to happen
He's
today?
just calling us in to kill us?
Yeah. Which could be a
A
very good
lot of them
possibility for
probably
him.
thought that.
You know,
Are we gonna walk into the
yeah,
Senate chambers and there's just gonna be a bunch of horses that he's gonna replace us with?
yeah. There was a man named Alois Winterling that wrote like an biography book on Caligula, and he said that uh, he thought that Caligula wanting to make his horse a senator and doing stuff like that was just to mess with the elites, just to get their goat. He and my opinion
Hey,
of everything
you
I've
can't talk
read.
about
Oh,
goats.
goat. Everything
You
I've
can't talk
read.
about
Oh,
goats.
goats.
You
I
can't talk
said
about the
the.
goat. You said the G
Oh,
word.
I sure did. What's he gonna do?
Well, nothing now. He's gone.
He thought he was a god, but not so godlike. He's
Hey,
not here.
guess what, Caligula? I'm taking the moon out on a date tonight. Try and stop me. Gotta find out if she's made of cheese or not.
Oh my goodness. Thank God he's not around.
You mean thank Caligula?
Jupiter. He
Oh
called
yeah,
himself
thank
Jupiter.
Jupiter.
He would walk around having conversations with Jupiter too, but then also claim to be Jupiter. So,
So talking to himself.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
But then he would threaten Jupiter too. Can you imagine?
Threatening
Threatening,
himself?
yeah, or threatening. Well, at that time, I assume he was talking to him as a god. So he was threatening his god, his sky god that controls the sky and the weather and
Yeah.
rules all the pantheon of lower deities.
Hmm.
Quite, quite the troll, I would say.
Indeed, indeed.
There's more stuff, but it's just too long of a list. I just gathered some of the best parts.
Those are some pretty good parts.
Yeah.
Comment down below if you have any other interesting stories about Caligula or interesting
Love
stories
to hear
about
them.
other historic figures trolling, just
Right.
trolling.
Because history can be fun if you look at it the right way. Look at this.
Yeah,
This is quite. I found these things to be quite funny myself.
yeah,
And when I first read them, I laughed.
yeah. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh, yeah.
And dislike if you dislike it. But remember, if you dislike it, I'm going to replace all the senators with horses. Oh, wait, that might actually work in our favor. Okay, no matter what, I'm replacing all the senators with horses. Have a great day, everybody.
Take care. Thanks for spending your time with us. Thank you.
Appreciate it.